You've probably heard 1,000 times that if you want to lose belly fat, you just need to do 1,000,000 sit-ups or focus on exercises targeting that area. But here's the curious little-known truth. Spot reduction is mostly a myth. That means no matter how many crunches you do, you can't just burn fat from the belly. This idea has trapped millions in frustrating cycles of effort without results. Even more surprising, some of the most popular advice out there is actually holding you back. But don't worry, that's not the end of the story. The real secret lies in simple, powerful habits that work with your body, not against it. If you're ready to finally understand what really moves the needle on fat loss and leave myths behind, you're in the right place. Belly fat. Just hearing those words can trigger a mix of frustration and confusion in anyone who's tried and failed to get rid of it. It's curious how this specific area of the body seems to resist every effort, no matter how intense the workout or strict the diet. But here's a fact that few people talk about. Belly fat isn't just an aesthetic issue. It's biologically active, functioning almost like a rebellious endocrine gland. This fat doesn't just sit there silently. It communicates with your body. It releases hormones, especially inflammatory ones, that actually make it easier to gain more fat. Yes, it's as if your belly fat is fighting back. It's not lazy, it's strategic. One of the most overlooked curiosities in human physiology is how stress, particularly the hormone cortisol, influences where fat gets stored. And where does cortisol love to store fat? Right around your organs, deep in your abdominal area. That's not just inconvenient, dangerous. And no, you can't just crunch your way out of it. This brings us to one of the biggest fitness myths out there. The idea of spot reduction. You know the drill. Do 100 sit-ups and your belly will magically shrink. Sounds logical, right? After all, when we want bigger arms, we train arms. Want stronger legs? Train legs. But here's the twist. Fat doesn't follow that same logic. The idea that you can choose where your body loses fat from is one of those persistent myths that sound true, until you actually look at the science. Multiple studies have shown that targeted exercises like crunches strengthen the muscles under the fat, but do very little to reduce the fat itself. In other words, you can have a six-pack and still not see it, because it's covered by a stubborn layer of fat. That's a curious contradiction in the fitness world, and yet it's still one of the most widely believed truths. The human body burns fat systemically, not locally, and belly fat is the last to go. Not because it's stubborn in the emotional sense, but because biologically, it serves a function your body has been programmed to protect. Let's break this down with a practical example. Imagine two people. Same weight, same age, same gym routine. One sleeps well, eats whole foods, and has a relatively calm life. The other, poor sleep, high-stress job, constant snacking on ultra-processed foods. Now guess which one struggles more with belly fat? The second one, of course. That's not a coincidence. It's a biological response. Cortisol, your body's stress hormone, doesn't just spike when you're anxious. It also affects how your body stores fat. And unfortunately, it loves the abdominal area. Here's a fact that might surprise you. Even if you burn calories during a workout, if your cortisol levels are chronically high, your body can override your efforts and cling to fat stores for protection. That's an ancient survival mechanism that made sense when humans had to worry about famine. But today, it's just one of many mysteries of how outdated biology meets modern lifestyles. This is why trying to outwork your belly fat with hours at the gym often ends in disappointment. Your body doesn't just respond to exercise. It responds to balance. You can run 5 miles a day, but if you're eating poorly, sleeping less than 6 hours, and juggling constant stress, your results may be minimal. Curiously, your body treats chronic stress almost like a famine. It thinks danger is coming, so it stores energy in the form of fat, close to your vital organs. It's trying to protect you. That might sound dramatic, but biologically, that's exactly what's happening. And this is one of those hidden truths that rarely get attention in weight loss conversations. Your emotional state is just as important as your physical activity when it comes to burning fat. It's not just about willpower, it's about biochemistry. Now here's another curious fact. Belly fat can also affect your brain. Studies show that visceral fat increases inflammation, not only in your body but in your brain. It influences memory, focus, and even mood. It may even alter your sense of taste, dulling your perception of flavors and pushing you to crave more salt, sugar, and fat to feel satisfied. That's why people often feel stuck in a cycle. Gain weight, feel foggy or down, crave comfort food, repeat. Belly fat isn't just a symptom. It's part of the cause. The loop keeps spinning unless you interrupt it at the root, with rest, food quality, stress reduction, and yes, movement, but smart movement. When you look at belly fat through this deeper lens, things begin to make more sense. It's not about being lazy. It's not about lacking discipline. It's about understanding the full picture. Hormones, habits, sleep, stress, food, and mindset. This new awareness gives you power. It helps you stop blaming yourself and start decoding what your body is trying to tell you. Because once you shift your focus from simply burning calories to healing your internal balance, your belly fat begins to let go. Not overnight, but gradually and consistently. And that, in itself, opens the door to an even bigger mystery. How the food industry shaped what we believe about fat in the first place. There's something really curious and honestly kind of upsetting about how we've been told what to eat over the years. For decades, people believed that eating fat would make them fat. Sounds logical, right? But that idea didn't come from good science. It came from powerful companies, especially in the sugar industry, that didn't want to be blamed for rising health problems. So what did they do? They quietly paid scientists to shift the blame onto fat. Yes, really. That's a fact that's been proven and documented. It's one of those hidden truths that most people never hear about. But it changed everything: how we eat, how we shop, and even how we feel about certain foods. And the impact of that shift is still being felt today. Back in 1977, the US government told people to cut down on fat. Seemed like a good idea at the time because heart disease was a big concern. But here's the problem. When people removed fat from their food, something had to replace it. And guess what stepped in? Sugar. Lots of it. Food companies started making low-fat or fat-free products that were actually packed with sugar to keep them tasty. Suddenly, people were eating more processed food, thinking it was healthy. That's where the confusion really took hold. A yogurt without fat had more sugar than a donut. Breakfast cereals became sweeter than candy. But it was all labeled healthy because it was low-fat. That's a strange contradiction, right? A fact interesting enough to make anyone question what's real and what's marketing. Over time, this created a huge problem. People were following the rules. They were doing what they thought was right, avoiding fat and choosing light foods. But instead of getting healthier, many got heavier. Obesity started to rise fast. In 1977, about 15% of adults in the US were considered obese. By 2023, that number passed 40%. That's not just a small increase, it's massive. And it didn't happen by accident. It happened because people were tricked into fearing the wrong thing. Fat wasn't the real problem. It was the sugar, the processed carbs, and the fake health foods. This is one of those facts that stayed hidden for too long, buried under years of bad advice and loud advertising. Let's look at a real-life example. Imagine someone in the early 2000s trying to lose weight. They skip breakfast, grab a low-fat muffin and a coffee with flavored syrup, thinking they're making smart choices. At lunch, they eat a fat-free salad dressing, diet soda, and a granola bar. All those things sound healthy, right? But they're loaded with sugar. And without fat, the person stays hungry, gets tired, and ends up snacking more. It's a cycle. And it's exactly what happened to millions of people. They didn't fail, the system failed them. That's an important thing to understand. You're not the problem. The advice was broken from the start. This low-fat mindset also pushed people away from real food. Butter, evil. Eggs, dangerous. Bacon, forget it. But sugary cereal, fine. Low-fat cookies, great. The logic was flipped upside down. People began to fear natural fats and trust boxes and labels. That's not just unhealthy, it's unnatural. Because your body actually needs fat. It helps your brain, your hormones, your energy, and your hunger signals. When we took it out of our diets, we created imbalances. Some people even started having memory problems, mood swings, and constant hunger. These are curious effects that don't get talked about enough. Even today, some of these old beliefs still stick around. Some people still think eating fat is bad, or that low-calorie snacks are always better. That's why it's so important to look deeper. Don't trust the front of the package. Turn it around. Read the ingredients. Ask questions. Because marketing isn't there to protect your health. It's there to sell. That's a hard truth, but an important one. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start to understand how easy it is to be misled, even when you have the best intentions. What's really eye-opening is how food choices affect more than your body. They affect your mind, your focus, your mood. Eating too much sugar, for example, can make you feel tired, anxious, or even sad. On the other hand, healthy fats can help you think better, feel more balanced, and stay full longer. These aren't just small details. They're the foundation of how you feel every day. That's why rethinking what you eat is so powerful. It's not about losing weight fast. It's about building a life that works for your body and your brain. That's a big shift. But it starts with simple steps. So yes, for decades we were misled. But now that the truth is out there, we can do things differently. We can eat with more awareness. We can stop blaming fat for problems it didn't cause. And we can learn to trust real food again. Because the more we understand what really matters, the easier it becomes to avoid falling into the same traps. And that matters, especially when we look at what's hiding in the drinks and supplements that surround us every day. Here's a curious fact. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to lose weight has nothing to do with food. It's what they're drinking. That's right. Drinks often go unnoticed in most diets, but they can quietly sabotage progress. The body doesn't handle liquid calories the same way it handles solid ones. When you eat a piece of bread, your stomach stretches, hormones are released, and your brain gets the message, "I'm full." But when you drink something sugary like juice or soda, that full signal barely happens. You get the calories but not the satisfaction. That's a problem, especially when it becomes a habit. And in today's world, it's a habit that's everywhere. From breakfast smoothies to afternoon iced coffees to nighttime wine. Many people don't realize how much sugar they're drinking each day. Take orange juice, for example. Seems healthy, even natural. But just one glass can have the same amount of sugar as a soda. The difference is in the perception. One is marketed as a health drink, the other as junk. But to your body, sugar is sugar. And without fiber, which is usually removed during processing, that sugar hits your bloodstream fast. The same goes for energy drinks, sweetened teas, flavored waters, and those fancy coffee drinks loaded with syrup. That's one of those strange facts. The things that feel light are often what weigh us down the most. And we drink them without thinking twice. Now let's talk about something even more mysterious. Supplements. The weight loss industry is full of pills, powders, and teas that promise fast results. You see them in commercials on social media, even recommended by influencers. But most of them don't work. They aren't backed by real science. Some even contain ingredients that can be harmful, especially when taken long-term. That's the scary part. They're sold with big promises but very little proof. People end up spending money and risking their health on things that offer hope but deliver nothing. It's a classic trap. Looking for shortcuts when what you really need is a strategy. Picture this. Someone trying to lose weight starts their day with a smoothie. Sounds healthy. Fruits, maybe some protein powder. But that smoothie might have 400 or 500 calories and 30 grams of sugar. They feel good about the choice. Then, after lunch, they grab a fat-burning supplement from a trendy brand online. It makes their heart race a little, but they trust the label. At night, they relax with a glass of wine or two. And they wonder, why am I not seeing results? It's not a lack of effort. It's invisible calories and false promises getting in the way. That's the kind of hidden barrier that keeps people stuck. Here's another fact that surprises people. Sugar in liquid form affects your hunger hormones. Confuses your body. Normally, when you eat, your hormones work together to make you feel full. But sugary drinks disrupt that process. You don't get full, so you snack more. And that leads to more calories overall, even when you're trying to cut back. Over time, it also affects your cravings, making you want more sweet things, even when you're not hungry. That's how the cycle starts. Drink sugar, crave more sugar, and struggle to stop. Supplements can cause another kind of problem, the illusion of progress. When you take something that says, burns fat fast, you might feel like you're doing the right thing, even if you're not making real changes. It's a mental trick. And companies know that. That's why the packaging is so persuasive. They use words like detox, shred, melt, and boost. But most of the time, the only thing getting lighter is your wallet. It's a curious reality. Many people end up relying on these products instead of fixing what really matters. Sleep, stress, food quality, and movement. And speaking of movement, there's something important to understand here. You can work out daily, but if your liquid calories are high, your progress will stall. Even healthy-sounding drinks like protein shakes can backfire if they're loaded with sugar or used too often as meal replacements. That's why water, plain water, is still one of the best tools for weight loss. It hydrates you, supports your metabolism, helps control hunger, and has 0 calories. Want a little flavor? Add lemon, mint, or cucumber. Simple but powerful. So, what can someone do starting today? First, track what you drink for just one day. No judgment, just observe. You might be shocked by how many calories come from drinks alone. Second, read supplement labels carefully. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And third, focus on real nourishment, things that fuel your body, not just stimulate it. Because real progress isn't about tricks. It's about clarity, consistency, and care. The truth is, sugary drinks and shady supplements are like hidden roadblocks. They look harmless but carry real consequences. And once you start removing those roadblocks, everything becomes easier. Your energy improves, your hunger calms down, and your progress finally starts to make sense. And this shift sets the stage for a much bigger realization, that even exercise on its own might not be the magic solution you were led to believe. Here's a curious fact that surprises a lot of people. Exercise alone rarely leads to the kind of weight loss people expect. That might sound strange, especially since most of us grew up hearing that the more you move, the more weight you lose. But in reality, the human body is far more complex than that simple burn calories equation suggests. Of course, exercise is amazing for a bunch of reasons: heart health, mood, memory, sleep, strength. But when it comes specifically to fat loss, it's not the solo hero people believe it is. And this is one of the biggest mysteries behind the frustration of those who sweat for hours at the gym and still see the scale stuck. Doesn't mean you should stop moving. Just means you need to see the full picture. Let's be clear. A lot of people undo their workout progress by eating more, and they don't always realize they're doing it. It's the classic "I worked out today, I deserve a treat" mindset. Or, "I can go back for seconds because I hit the gym." That kind of thinking is more common than you'd imagine, and the curious thing is, your body encourages it. After exercise, your hunger often increases. It's a natural response. And if you're not aware of it, you might end up eating all or more of the calories you just burned. There's another twist. Many people actually move less throughout the day after working out. They rest more, relax more, thinking they've done enough. The workout gets cancelled out by other habits. This shows that fat loss isn't about 1 hour of hard work. It's about the full 24 hours of your day. Now here's something interesting. Not all exercise is created equal. One of the most fascinating facts about the human body is that it responds better to short, intense workouts than to long, slow ones. A well-designed 15-minute session can have a bigger metabolic impact than an hour of light treadmill walking. That's because high-intensity training activates hormonal responses that keep burning energy even after the session ends, like your body stays in fat-burning mode behind the scenes. On the other hand, those long, gentle workouts burn energy only while you're moving. That's one of those overlooked curiosities that can completely shift how you approach fitness. Let's take a real-life example. Joao starts walking for an hour every day to lose weight. He feels proud of his effort. But at the same time, he starts eating more at dinner, either because he's hungrier or because he feels he earned it. And during the day, he moves less, thinking he's already done his part. The result? Little or no change on the scale. Now take Maria. She does short 20-minute workouts 3 times a week, focused on strength and intensity. She drinks more water, eats mindfully, and keeps her daily habits consistent. Even with less gym time, she sees better results. That shows the secret isn't about more time or sweat. It's about smarter strategy and balance. Here's another interesting fact. Exercise changes your internal health more than your body weight. It improves insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation, boosts mood, enhances sleep, and helps regulate appetite. So even if the scale doesn't budge right away, your body is getting healthier. And that really matters. Because losing weight without improving your health isn't a win. It's a trap. The real shift comes when you stop obsessing over calories and start building a routine that supports your body as a whole. When you do that, weight loss becomes a natural outcome, not a desperate goal. It's also curious how marketing has sold the idea that all you need is to sweat it out. How many times have you seen ads with someone running, dripping sweat, as if that's the one true path to results? But real life isn't that simple. Exercise is just one piece of the puzzle. On its own, it has limited power. The Real Foundation is built on sleep, food quality, stress management, and yes, movement, but the kind that fits your life. Science shows that simple habits like walking more throughout the day, taking stairs, or standing up more often make a big difference. These invisible movements may seem small, but they're incredibly powerful. So, if you've been working hard in the gym and not seeing results, maybe the problem isn't your effort, it's your approach. Maybe it's time to look beyond the treadmill and see the bigger picture. Because losing weight isn't just about burning, it's about adjusting. And when you finally understand that, everything starts to make more sense. What once felt stuck begins to flow. And this new understanding opens the door to a truth most people don't expect. That the real key to change isn't found in miracle diets. It's hidden in the quiet, everyday habits we tend to overlook. It's curious how often people chase after miracle diets, quick fixes, and magic pills, hoping to solve their weight struggles overnight. The internet is full of promises. Lose 10 kilos in 2 weeks. Or eat this one food and melt fat away. But here's a fact that many don't realize. Sustainable weight loss isn't about spectacular changes or extreme diets. It's about small, simple habits that build up over time. These are the kinds of habits that don't make headlines but quietly transform your health, mindset, and body. And the best part, they're doable for anyone, no matter your lifestyle or schedule. Let's start with hydration. Drinking more water sounds basic, almost boring, but it's a powerful tool. Curious fact: many people confuse thirst with hunger, which means they snack when their body actually needs water. By simply drinking enough water throughout the day, you can reduce unnecessary snacking and improve your digestion. Plus, water supports brain function, mood, and energy, all essential for sticking to your goals. Think about it. Instead of reaching for that bag of chips, try a glass of water first. This small switch can change how your body feels and reacts. Another habit that often gets overlooked is mindful eating. In our busy world, many people eat distracted, in front of the TV, scrolling on their phone, or rushing through meals. This breaks the natural connection between your brain and stomach, making it easy to overeat without noticing. Practicing mindful eating means paying full attention to your food, savoring each bite, noticing flavors and textures, and tuning into hunger and fullness cues. It might sound simple, but it's surprisingly effective. People who eat mindfully often eat less, feel more satisfied, and develop a healthier relationship with food. That's a curious discovery that can unlock a lot of weight loss mysteries. Let's talk about distractions during meals. Ever notice how easy it is to finish a whole bag of popcorn while watching a movie, but struggle to stop eating when you're fully focused on your plate? Distractions disconnect you from your body's signals. By creating a calm, focused eating environment, you give yourself the chance to notice when you're actually full. This habit might seem small, but it can prevent a lot of overeating over time. It's a simple trick that beats the hype of calories-negative foods or detox teas that promise quick fixes but often deliver disappointment. Speaking of myths, here's a fact that surprises many. The idea of negative calorie foods is mostly a myth. Foods like celery or grapefruit are often said to burn more calories digesting than they contain, but the truth is, the effect is minimal. Instead of chasing these myths, focus on eating a variety of whole, nourishing foods that support your body's needs. The real magic happens when you combine these foods with the simple habits we've talked about. Drinking water, eating mindfully, and avoiding distractions. Weight loss also affects your brain in interesting ways. Obesity can reduce taste sensitivity, making people crave stronger flavors, often sugary or salty foods, which can lead to overeating. But losing weight can reverse this effect, improving your taste and food preferences over time. That's a fascinating fact that shows how intertwined body and mind really are. By adopting healthy habits, you're not just changing your body, you're reshaping how you experience food and pleasure. Another habit that makes a big difference is managing stress. Stress triggers the release of cortisol, a hormone that encourages fat storage, especially around the belly. When stress becomes chronic, it creates a cycle of cravings, overeating, and weight gain. Simple stress-reducing activities like deep breathing, walking in nature, or practicing gratitude can lower cortisol levels and support your weight loss journey. These are habits that don't get enough attention but can unlock huge changes in how your body handles fat. Sleep is another silent player in weight management. Poor sleep disrupts hormones that control hunger and fullness, leading to increased appetite and cravings. Getting enough restful sleep can be a game changer, helping to balance hormones and improve energy. That's why sometimes, no matter how good your diet or exercise routine is, sleep can be the missing piece of the puzzle. Putting it all together, it becomes clear that the secret to lasting weight loss isn't a flashy diet or an expensive supplement. It's the small, simple habits. Drinking water, eating mindfully, reducing distractions, managing stress, and prioritizing sleep that build a foundation for health and fat loss. These habits may not seem glamorous, but they work quietly, steadily, and effectively. And the best part, anyone can start them today without drastic changes or feelings of deprivation. In fact, starting with these habits makes other healthy choices easier. When you're hydrated, well-rested, and less stressed, you crave better food and enjoy moving your body. It's a positive cycle that grows stronger every day. That's the real reward. Not quick fixes, but sustainable transformation. And it all begins with curiosity, patience, and the willingness to try something simple yet powerful. Now that you know the mysteries behind belly fat loss, tell me, which of these facts surprised you the most? Have you ever fallen for any of these myths? Share your experience and questions in the comments. Let's grow together on this journey. Remember, there's no magic formula, but there are real, accessible ways to transform your body and health. If you want to keep discovering curious facts and interesting truths that few people know, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any content that helps debunk everything about weight loss and health. After all, transformation starts with knowledge. And here you'll find everything you need to stay strong and avoid traps. So, ready to take the next step and learn more surprising secrets? See you in the next video.